What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Patreon. This is Trek Epidemic, the best show about Star Trek. I know a lot of people do Star Trek shows, but this one's the best one. And because I have my good buddy, I'm Buck Hollywood Leduc, by the way, and I have my good friend Jordan J. Hardner. How are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. Just staying alive, staying inside. We've also got our Star Trek expert, resident Star Trek expert. Is that the sound of him jerking off to the praise? It's Mr. Craig D. How are you doing, buddy?
How you doing? Sorry, I'll put it away. My bad. I was just,
Skin on
Just gotta make sure it doesn't get picked
While
up
you
on the
stroke
mic.
my ego, I stroked something else.
Absolutely. Today we've got a very special episode. It's special because it's the next one. This is episode 11, I think, of season 1, called Haven. Aired November 30th, 1987. And this was the last one for a couple months. We'll get to that next episode. But this is Haven. And I like that this one starts with Riker watching VR heart pornography.
Yeah, he's just sitting in his quarter, like, listening to... I like how he creepily smiles at them, too.
Yeah,
Like, he knows they're just, like, two little hologram women, and he just, like, creepily, like, starts smiling at them, like, yeah.
They're in nice dresses, playing harps, and Riker is sitting back, watching it, jerking off.
Hey, man, I mean, people's desires didn't change much in the future, it seems, so...
Absolutely. This is the first one we've seen Deanna Troi in a while. She's been gone. She's gone for. I read on the Wikipedia that she wasn't in like the last 3 episodes, so she thought that she got fired from the show.
So then they're like, "Oh no, we'll make it up to you. We'll do like a whole Deanna Troi centric episode now."
Yeah, we're gonna give you a Betazoid episode, a classic Betazoid episode. So this one's good-ish. It has my favorite guy, Carl Struken, who's he plays Lurch from the Addams Family, and also more my shit, the Giant from Twin Peaks. And he plays the valet of Troy's mother. He's a really creepy-looking guy, and
yeah, he really is.
Big fan of whenever I see him and stuff. I was watching on Netflix. It was some sort of like Stephen King movie, and he shows up at the end of it, and I'm like, oh, that's that shit. Love to see that.
I like this episode because we get introduced to Lwaxana Troi. She's just fucking crazy, man.
She's a nightmare.
Yeah, she is. It's like I love how Troi warns Picard, like, "Hey, so just so you know, my mom's a little eccentric," and he's like, "Oh no big deal." And then she beams on board, and it's just like immediately you could see in Picard's face. He's like, "Oh god damn it!
Yeah,
what have we gotten ourselves into?"
Mother is a great character. That's actually the wife of Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah, Major Barrett.
Yeah, that's right, Major Barrett. As called the First Lady of Star Trek. That's a little tidbit for you guys. So this one's about an arranged marriage. Not really much more than that.
Yeah, this one's like there's some good moments, but like other than that, it's just kind of like seems like just kind of a filler episode more than anything.
Yeah.
At first, it seems like we're going to get another shore leave episode because they're talking about how great this planet they're going to is.
Yeah, Haven is great. Haven is wonderful.
Break there. And it's like, nah, bait and switch. It's the weird 90s arranged marriage, but they can't actually end up getting married because there's already a romantic interest in the cast episode.
Dude, I love that before Lwaxana Troi beams up, they beam up that chest with the face in it, and then all of a sudden it gets all weird and creepy. It's like, what's up, everybody? And then it spits out a bunch of jewels, and then Troi is like, Riker's like, what the hell is this? And he's like, it's a wedding gift. And she's like, I'm getting married. And Riker's like, what? You know, he's pissed off because that was his woman, you know?
I like that. Actually, thinking back, I think I thought I imagined that face thing spitting out the jewels because I was on 10 milligrams when I was watching this. But it's good to know that was in it.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't spit them out per se. He says like, you know, you're invited to the wedding or whatever, and then like the bottom part of the chest like opens up and spills out all the jewels.
That's right.
But I like to imagine that he spit them out. So.
Yeah, spit them out with his mouth. So while they're like orbiting Haven, the Haven planet mentions that there's a hostile ship, a Terrellian ship. Is that right, Craig?
Yeah, the Terrellians.
Terrellian. And everybody's like, "Whoa, they were wiped out by a coronavirus. How could they possibly be alive if they were all wiped out by a coronavirus?"
Oh man, that's too real right now, man. It's too real right now. But yeah, and then they're like, the planet's like, we have no defenses. You're in the Federation, and we have an agreement with you. You better defend us. And then Picard's like, we'll do what we can. No big deal.
Yeah, and this is about where we get introduced to the arranged marriage guy, that goofy-looking bitch from Prison Break, Theodore Teabag Baggins, Wyatt in this episode.
Yeah, he's known as Wyatt.
Known as Wyatt in this. I call him that goofy bitch from Prison Break, because he plays the child molester in Prison.
Oh, jeez.
And he's talking about how he had dreams of another woman, because they're always like. He's always like, "Oh, I thought it was you talking to me in my dreams."
Yo, could you imagine that you're about to get married to someone, and then like he's like, he has all these pictures that he drew of like some woman, and then he's like, and she even said he's like, I'm not what he expected, and he was all disappointed with her, and then they're talking, and he's like, yeah, I drew all these pictures of some other girl, and you're just not her. Like, could you imagine what Deanna felt like at that moment? Like, damn, son, it's like, come on.
And right after that, she tells him that she's in love with Riker, basically.
Yeah. And then
so
like, well,
it's like
yeah,
they're
fine.
both just sharing that.
Yeah, you want to draw pictures of other girls? Well, that's fine. I want to bang Riker again.
Everybody wants to bang Riker. Look at him. Look at that icy glare.
Dude, you could even see the harp ladies wanted to early on too, even though they were just hologram harp ladies.
Yeah, as he was pounding off to the hologram heart ladies.
When he meets Deanna again for the first time too, he gives her like this special mood ring rose that shows what the person holding it is feeling, and I'm like, what a sort of weird gift to give someone so that you kind of know like their vibe of you. And then I thought that was gonna play some sort of role later down the line, and it never did.
I know. I was wondering like what does the mood mean? Because hers, like when she was holding it, it was just white. So I'm like, does that mean she's like has no mood and she's just indifferent or something like that? And it's just pale. And I'm like, well, come on, explain it. I want to know.
And then it becomes like blue later on, right before the break, and then we never see it again.
Yeah, and then it's just like, nope.
That is what I love about Star Trek episodes, when they like launch something and then it just they never talk about it again.
Yeah, they do that with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Good job, writers. Who wrote this episode? Let's see. Story by Tracy Tome and Lano Kun.
Yeah, Tracy
Thanks,
Tome.
guys.
He wrote a lot of the first season episodes. This one, then it gets to some crazy shit when they have the dinner with like both.
Oh, the
parents.
dinner's the best part of the episode, man.
It's a legitimately good section of an episode.
Dude, yeah, Data's like circling around the table, and then Picard's like, "Stop! You're circling like a buzzard." Yeah. And every time Loxana eats a bite of food, like her valet strikes the little gong.
It's so loud. The gong is so loud
loud
compared to all the other sound mixing in the episode.
I knew as soon as I heard that, I'm like, Jordan is going to fucking hate this.
It's so bad.
Dude, it's really funny though, because that episode inspired us pissing off my mother when I was younger, because we would my dad would get up sometimes during dinner and he would grab like a metal pot or something like that, stand there, hold it, take like a wooden spoon, then I'd take a bite of food and he would just bang on it. Or if my mom was eating, he would do that too, and she would get so pissed off and we'd all be laughing and everything. But yeah, that episode definitely caused some family drama, not only in the episode but in real life for me.
Now, I haven't watched season 1 in a while, but I remember all these episodes. I don't really remember this one, maybe because it's not that memorable, but...
Maybe you were on 20 milligrams last time.
I might have been on 20 milligrams last time, yeah. But there are some stuff that I will not forget now, because it's really funny, like about how they don't want to have an Earth wedding, because the Betazoid wedding, everyone has to be naked.
Everyone has to get naked.
And another scene I really liked at the dinner was when she has like that plant snake, and it starts like...
Oh, yeah. Do you like pets? And it starts like attacking the other woman.
That's pretty funny. And then we got a classic Deanna Troi freak out, a little rage quit of the dinner.
Oh yeah, she gets up, rage quits, knocks over the gong, and she's like, "Stop the petty bickering!" And then after she leaves and everyone goes back to normal, Data's just like, "Please, can you continue the petty bickering? I was quite enjoying it."
That part's so good. I just imagine him like trying to throw catty insults afterwards to like try and get it back going. And oh, she said this about you.
Right, Data's sitting there instigating trouble.
Absolutely. And then we get after the dinner, we get a shot of the Tyrillian ship, which Picard keeps calling the plague ship, which I like. I think that's funny. because it's like Plague World out here, which I call the world right now.
You know what's funny for Picard doing that though? It's like you would expect better out of someone like Picard.
Not
you
to
know?
call it a plague ship.
Yeah, I mean he's sitting there like the people from Haven are like, you gotta destroy that ship right now, destroy it. You gotta destroy it, and he's like, I will not destroy them, and blah 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 blah. But yet he's like, he's being all ethical about that, but then he just can't call them the Torellians. So he calls it the plague ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of contradictory, don't you think, Picard?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, Picard. I like how the Trellians are like, we just want a little peninsula so that we can die on it. We just want to die on a little tiny peninsula. Just give us a little peninsula.
Come on, just let us infect your planet a little bit. No big deal.
Just a corner, right? We promise it's not airborne. It's not like we killed 7 other planets by ourselves.
Don't worry, we'll quarantine. We'll self-quarantine.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna self-quarantine for 14 days, then we're gonna wear masks, and it's gonna be all good. So then at this point, Wyatt sees on the screen that it's the girl from his dreams. How convenient! How convenient! So he decides he's a doctor, so he's gonna take some medical supplies or whatever, and then he jumps into the he downs the engineer. And then jumps into the teleport.
Balding engineer.
He's like, yeah, I'm beaming over. He's like, I need permission from Picard. No, you don't. Hyperspray.
A classic downing of the engineer. Gets on the ship, and they're like, you got to get him back. And they're like, oh, no. We can't get him back. He is now filled with the virus.
He's got so much COVID. You don't know. You don't even know. We can't do anything to help him.
With COVID-19.
And then you could see Deanna Troi was like relieved, like, oh, I don't have to marry this guy now.
Yeah, but to me, I feel like we were robbed of the naked wedding, though. That's what I feel like.
That would have been pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was hoping that scene was going to happen.
All these really carefully framed shots, so there's flower vases in front of certain people's bodies.
I think
Dude, Riker would have had a field day at the wedding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Riker would have. I think
it would have been great for an object scene too, or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, Riker's just like, I object.
Well, it's funny because this episode's obvious, but it doesn't go down the obvious route that you think it's gonna go.
Yeah. I thought it was weird though when he beams over to the ship that the chick drew his picture too, like Wyatt's picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then they mentioned that they weren't even here for the planet; they were here for him all along, which felt really sinister to me.
Yeah, and it's like they're like, we knew about you this whole time. It's like, how? What do you mean? I don't know. I don't get what you mean.
They also completely hand-wave over the fact that they were sharing dreams and stuff this whole time. They don't say it's something Torellians can specifically do, or they developed some sort of machine or prophecy. It's just at one point Deanna Troi's mom just says, oh, everything in the universe is connected, and then that's the only thing that's even vaguely an explanation for how that happened.
Yeah, I was reading a review of this from when it aired, and it was they keep mentioning that it's a lot of half-filled ideas, and it kind of is just slapped together entertainment of them trying to do weird things, but I think it works for the most part.
It felt kind of
it's watchable.
It felt kind of like they were trying to fill in a little bit of what's going on between Riker and Deanna, because they definitely talk about the fact that the reason that Riker won't be in a relationship with her is because he wants his biggest dream is to become a captain of a starship, and apparently for some reason being in a relationship causes some sort of issues with that. They mentioned in this episode, and so I don't know, it kind of felt like a way to sort of explain a little bit more of their backstory and their relationship.
You know what the funny thing about that is? Can we jump ahead maybe to the movies?
Sure.
Okay, so the ironic part about that is, I mean, spoiler alert, I guess I should say, right? Spoilers for the movies. But they get married, and then he becomes a captain. What the fuck? And that episode is just null and void now. It's okay, everything you said was bullshit, and you just lied to us. Thanks, writers. Nothing mattered.
It seems so weird, too, that being married would be an issue with being a captain, especially when she's already, a Starfleet officer and could easily serve on whatever ship he was leading. And there's also just a bunch of non-officers on the Enterprise anyways, so even if you didn't want that kind of thing, it just seems a bit odd. I don't really know. Well, they never explain why it's an issue. They just say it is an issue and leave it at that.
The thing about the Enterprise or any of the starships is it's like a big spring break. They're all fucking always. All these people are fucking, dude.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like being on a Navy ship. I hear they fuck a lot on there.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're out to sea or whatever, or out in space, and you're around the same people all the time, odds are you're gonna be fucking.
Absolutely. All right. Do we got any closing thoughts on this one, or should we just give it some ratings here?
Let's just move on from this episode.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this bad boy 2.5, right in the middle. It's perfectly watchable, but nothing that crazy happens in it. I do like at the end when the big tall guy says something and they're all confused. They thought he
Oh
couldn't
yeah, he's
talk.
like, "Thank you for the drinks."
It's literally said that he can't
Oh.
speak. Oh, and
Yeah,
then
how do we? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and then they also leave them with all of the jewels, which I really hope come back in a future episode, but I guarantee will not.
But the thing is too, when Loxana is leaving, like she's like, maybe I should stay aboard and get married. And then she looks at Picard and she's like, well, Picard's attracted to me. Oh, but he's too old. And then she goes after Riker. And then she's like, all right, I'll leave. And then she gets on the transporter pad. And then she's like, Picard, even my former valet never had thoughts like that about me. And then Troy's like, that was a joke. And Picard was like, I was not amused. He was so offended. Like, just so absolutely offended by it.
You can see him get progressively more and more tired of Deanna's mom's shit as the episode goes on, and it's great. There's this one part too, which I forgot to bring up, where they're at like a party celebrating the wedding, and at one point the two parents start fighting, and Picard's just like, there's a rule on the ship that you can't fight at parties, so this fight is over. I declare it over. So okay, I guess that's how fights work.
They got their shit figured out in the future, man. So,
All right, Jordan, what do you give this one?
I'll probably give it a 2.5, 2, somewhere in there.
Absolutely. What do you got, Craig?
I'd give it a 2.
A solid 2-star. That's what we like to see in this household. All right, that's that episode. See you guys next week. Thanks for joining the Patreon. Head on over to the YouTube and subscribe there. And also hit up movieepidemic.com for more stuff like this.